Let's start by demonstrating one of the many ways in which we would go about teaching a particular song. In this instance, we'll use a famous classical piece. And this might be something that ordinarily, typically, we would be showing to a beginning student of any age, child, teen, adult, senior. And they would be getting to this within 4, 5, 6 lessons from being a total beginner. Everything I show you, I'd love you to share if you think there's any value. If you're a teacher, you'll understand exactly what it is that I'm saying. These are very, very simple concepts. In fact, one of the things that's really extraordinary about Simply Music is how ordinary it is. When you really get into the architecture, the blueprint, the mechanics of how the method works, so much of this approach is so obvious. It leaves many people questioning, why haven't we been approaching music education this way all along? Well, that's not the point. The point is we have an opportunity to explore that now, and I want to demonstrate a series of concepts, approaches, over a series of videos. In this instance, how do we teach a well-known, well-loved, famous classical piece of music to a total beginner? Firstly, as I've said elsewhere, the core of the Simply Music program firstly is built on that absolutely is everybody is musical. So we know always that it's never anything lacking in the student, in their ability to be able to have a command and a grasp over an entire repertoire of fantastic sounding music. Everything has to do with how we teach, not who we're teaching. Everybody's musical. Second thing is this, that the Simply Music method is about learning a way of learning. It's about tools. Let's talk about one particular tool. I'm taking the melody of a famous classical piece. I want to distill it into, pardon me, I want to distill it into a pattern, a shape. We're going to represent that shape with a diagram. We're going to see how that translates into the hands and then onto the keyboard and how it turns into a song. So, one of the things that I want to do is I want to talk about a concept, 3 concepts actually, that are familiar in your everyday language. I'm just going to talk about the concept of bottom, middle, and top. I'm going to use those 3 words. Bear in mind, you don't have to follow where I'm heading, just roll with me here in this. These 3 words I'm going to use to build a sentence. Here's my sentence. Middle to top to bottom to middle. So I've used the 3 concepts, but I've put them in a sentence. Middle to top to bottom to middle. Let me show you how that might be represented on the page. And I'll bring up a page on your screen so you know exactly what's going on. I've talked about 3 concepts: bottom, middle, and top. What I've also said is I'm going to take those 3 concepts and I'm going to use them to construct a sentence. And my sentence was middle to top to bottom to middle. I'm going to draw that. Start at the middle, to the top, to the bottom, to the middle. There's my sentence. What we want to do now is take that sentence and translate it into the hands. So let's go back to the overhead and have a look. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the lid down on the piano for a moment so you can see my hand more clearly. I'm going to take those 3 concepts. If we wanted to get started, we could just turn our hand up like this and we could call this the bottom and this the middle and this the top. But for now, I'm just going to do it this way. I'm calling this the bottom, this the middle, and this the top. There are our 3 points. Let's see how the sentence unfolds. Remember, it was middle to top to bottom to middle. Middle, working its way to the top, working its way down to the bottom, and coming back to the middle. Middle, top, bottom, middle. Let's take that now. What we've seen so far is our diagram and our concepts apply to the hand, apply to the fingers. We can map out our sentence. Let's see how it maps out directly onto the keyboard. Over to the keyboard. Just so that you know, for no other purpose other than our filming today, I've put a little indicator here, and this just tells you that this note is middle C. So otherwise you mightn't be aware of where we are on the keyboard given that we've just cut it off for the filming. So the only purpose, and I'm only doing this for filming, is I have a little indicator there for middle C. I'm going to take my right hand, I'm just going to put my thumb on C and just rest 5 fingers over 5 notes. Here's how this sentence would unfold. It would start at the middle, work its way to the top, continue down to the bottom, and back to the middle. Let's actually play that. So it goes from the middle to the top, all the way to the bottom, one at a time, and then one at a time back to the middle. Very simple, very clear, very immediate for students to grasp this, and it translates immediately onto the keyboard, which you want that physical connection from the get-go. Let's have a look at our diagram again, because I want to make a slight change. Here's what we're going to do, exactly what we've done so far, but each time we get to one of our points, either the middle, or the top, or the bottom, or the middle, I'm going to have you play those notes, middle, top, bottom, middle, 2 times. Let's have a look. My thumb here is on C. I've just got 5 fingers over 5 notes. We start with the middle. I'm going to do this twice. Up to the top, which I'm going to do twice. Coming to the bottom, which I'm going to do twice. Coming back to the middle, which I'm going to do twice. Very simple, very immediate, very easy for anybody of any age to understand. Translates immediately onto the keyboard. What have we achieved? Well, we've just nailed the right hand to the core melody of Beethoven's Ode to Joy. I'm going to play it both hands together. We'll come back and address the left hand in a moment, but see how simple this is. It starts at the middle. Remember, middle, top and bottom and middle, we're going to double up 2 times. The top, coming down to the bottom, back to the middle, and I'm just going to add in a little note there. It repeats. And at the end, there's a little change. See how simple this is. It's fantastic for students. Commonly in a lesson environment, I won't even tell the students what they're going to be learning. I'll just take them into this process of bottom, middle, top, building the sentence, seeing it in the hands, seeing it on the keyboard, playing it, the doubling up, and the song just magically appears before their eyes. It's really fantastic. By the way, when we have a look at the left hand, we can also see that there are patterns that emerge in the relationship between how and when the left hand and the right hand are played. Let's have a look at that quickly, and we'll do that straight on the keyboard. We had 2 positions here. We had this position here where I've put my 5th finger on C and I've got 5 fingers over 5 notes. I'm tucking my fingers away, out of the way so you can just see clearly. I'm going to play these 2 notes. The only difference is this note here is just going to come down to the B. So I'm just going to alternate back and forth between these. And when I come to play Ode to Joy, each time I play one, the next one's going to be the other. I'm going to change to the first, back to the second. That's all I'm doing. One of the things that we'll notice is that the left hand falls in a pattern that I'll call first, last. What that means is that the very first time we play the left hand with one of the right hand double notes, we play it on the first time. The next time we play it, on the last time we play it, we play the left hand with the last note. Let me show you on the keyboard, it's clearer. Our left hand is falling with the right hand. It's one of the double notes, so I'm going to play the left hand with the first of the double notes. First, here's a double note, but I'm going to play it with the last one. Working down to the bottom. Now it's going to be the first. Now it's going to be the last. So it's first, last, first, last, first, last, first, and the ending, well, we deal with that separately. Bear in mind, what I'm showing you now in a matter of a minute or 2, this is something that would unfold over the course of a lesson or 2 in amongst all of the other projects that we're doing. But what we know for sure over almost 20 years of teaching this to millions of lessons, about 4.5 million lessons, we've seen that the average student is getting to put both hands together on a song of this standard within a half a dozen lessons of being a total beginner. Fantastic approach. Feel free to share this with your students.